Things heated up for the Los Angeles Rams early this week. What seemed like an ordinary day at the Los Angeles Rams' training camp suddenly brought the first real injury concern of the summer. However, it also revealed why the team might be even stronger than many fans imagined heading into the new season. Monday's practice, held in full pads, highlighted a few points I want to discuss with you. I'll cover injuries, standout performances, intense competition, and further proof that a starting role on the roster must be earned, not simply handed out. I'll give you all the details in a moment. But first, make sure you hit that like button. Only do it, though, if you're a die-hard Rams fan. If you can, leave a comment saying, "Go Rams! Let's do this!" The day's biggest news centered on tight end Davis Allen. Sean McVay confirmed that Allen is dealing with a new quadriceps injury, a muscle issue sustained during training camp. According to McVay, the team doesn't plan to rush his return, as they believe he will play a key role in the offense this season. While there are no indications the injury will affect his availability for the regular season opener, he is expected to miss valuable preparation time and possibly part of the preseason. It's frustrating, given that Allen was expected to continue building chemistry with the offense, but the Rams seem determined to ensure he returns fully recovered rather than risking a setback. Another storyline that continues to attract attention is the absence of Myles Garrett from practice. Monday marked his fourth straight missed session. Sean McVay explained that Garrett is dealing with soreness in his lower body and stressed that it is nothing to worry about. The expectation is that he returns during the next practice block after the team's scheduled day off. Even so, his absence has naturally created opportunities for other defenders to prove themselves, and several young players are taking full advantage of those extra reps. One player who simply refuses to stay out of the spotlight is Terrence Ferguson. Every practice seems to produce another report praising the young tight end, and Monday was no different. Ferguson continued to emerge as one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets throughout practice. Coaches and observers have consistently noted how comfortable he looks lining up all over the formation, creating mismatches and showing the ability to make plays after the catch. The excitement surrounding Ferguson is not based on one great practice. It is the result of an outstanding offseason. He has transformed his body, spent months improving his chemistry with Stafford, and appears to have taken a major step forward, entering his second year. Last season, many fans hoped he would become an immediate contributor, but the Rams have historically developed young players patiently. Few rookies become instant stars in Sean McVay's offense, making Ferguson's current rise feel like a natural progression instead of a surprise. His growth could also answer one of the biggest questions surrounding the offense. Throughout the offseason, many wondered who would become the third major receiving weapon behind the established stars. Several young receivers have impressed, but Ferguson is making a convincing case that he could become that missing piece. His versatility allows the Rams to create different formations while giving Stafford another reliable option capable of producing explosive plays. The quarterback room also generated plenty of discussion. Matthew Stafford once again looked exactly like the veteran leader everyone expects. He delivered another series of impressive throws while continuing to operate the offense with complete confidence. But the story behind him centered on Stetson Bennett. Monday felt like Bennett's best practice of camp. Reports consistently described him making plays throughout the session while displaying confidence from the moment he stepped onto the field. This is now his fourth season working within Sean McVay's system, and that experience is becoming increasingly obvious. Years of learning from Stafford, combined with outstanding coaching, are beginning to show up every single practice. Meanwhile, Ty Simpson did not participate in team drills, something that immediately created speculation. However, there has been no indication that he has lost his place in the competition. One day of practice simply does not define an entire training camp. There could be any number of reasons for the decision, including workload management or circumstances that have not been publicly discussed. What does seem increasingly clear, though, is that Bennett currently holds the advantage in the battle to become Stafford's primary backup. That should not be viewed as a negative for Simpson. Bennett simply looks like a quarterback whose experience is paying off. He understands the offense, makes quick decisions, and appears comfortable in every situation. Simpson still has significant room to grow, and that development remains important for the franchise. But if the Rams needed someone to step into a game today, Bennett is making a strong argument that he would be the safest option. One phrase continues to define this year's training camp: iron sharpens iron. Matthew Stafford himself described the practices as some of the highest quality football he has ever been part of. That statement carries tremendous weight, coming from an 18-year veteran who has seen nearly everything the NFL has to offer. Every practice creates elite matchups across the field. One day the offense wins, the next day the defense answers. Instead of one unit dominating the other, both groups are making each other better. That competitive environment may become one of the greatest strengths of this football team. A perfect example came from the battles involving the secondary. Facing receivers like Puka Nacua and Davante Adams every day leaves no room for mistakes. Defenders must play nearly flawless football simply to remain competitive. Even perfect coverage is sometimes not enough when Stafford delivers an elite throw to one of his star receivers. Yet Monday belonged to the defense. One of the biggest highlights came from Trent McDuffie. On a deep completion that initially looked destined to become another long touchdown for Puka Nacua, McDuffie refused to give up on the play. He recovered with incredible speed and managed to punch the football loose before the play was finished. It was exactly the type of effort, recovery, and playmaking ability the Rams want to see from their secondary this season. The defensive unit continued stacking positive moments throughout practice. Josiah Stewart forced a fumble after refusing to quit on a running play. Even after initially being blocked, he fought through contact, reached the football, and knocked it free. Quentin Lake recovered the loose ball and returned it for a defensive score. Cam Curl added an interception of Matthew Stafford, while Cam Lampkin and Jalen Watson each contributed pass breakups during an impressive overall performance. Perhaps the most encouraging aspect was that all of this happened without Myles Garrett on the practice field. Rather than using his absence as an excuse, the defense responded with one of its strongest collective practices of camp. That resilience reflects the competitive mentality developing throughout the roster. Several players also continued building momentum quietly. Josiah Stewart has become increasingly difficult to ignore thanks to his relentless motor and ability to create impact plays. Cam Lampkin keeps finding ways to make plays almost every time observers watch him. His development has been noticeable throughout the offseason, and he appears ready to compete for a much larger role than many expected. Cam Curl's interception highlighted another productive day for the veteran defensive back, while center Coleman Shelton continued receiving praise for his communication and leadership along the offensive line. Those contributions rarely generate headlines, but they are essential to building an efficient offense. The less attention offensive linemen receive during practice, the better they are usually performing, and Shelton's steady presence continues to stabilize the unit. As training camp moves forward, one thing has become increasingly obvious. Competition exists at nearly every position. Veterans continue performing at a high level, while younger players refuse to let opportunities slip away. Every practice seems to produce another standout performance, another roster battle, or another reminder that this Rams team possesses impressive depth across the field. Of course, Davis Allen's injury remains something every fan will monitor closely over the coming days. His recovery timeline will be important because the coaching staff clearly views him as a significant part of the offense. At the same time, Terrence Ferguson's continued rise gives the Rams another exciting storyline, while Stetson Bennett's confidence keeps growing with each passing practice. Perhaps the biggest takeaway from Monday is not one individual player, but the overall quality of competition. The offense pushes the defense to improve. The defense responds by creating turnovers and big plays. Veterans set the standard, while younger players chase them every day. That environment is exactly what championship contenders hope to create before the regular season begins. There is still plenty of work ahead before Week 1 Riders, but the intensity, development, and competition seen throughout this training camp suggest this roster is heading in the right direction. If the practices continue at this level, the Rams will enter the season battle-tested and prepared for whatever challenges lie ahead. Now, it's your turn. What was the biggest takeaway for you from Monday's practice? Are you more excited about Terrence Ferguson's breakout, Stetson Bennett's progress in the quarterback competition, or the way the defense responded despite missing Myles Garrett? Let me know your thoughts, because I'd love to hear what every Rams fan is thinking as training camp continues.